There was only one empire in history that fought almost without pause for 6 centuries, and yet its treasury never ran dry. It fought kings. It fought sultans. It fought crusaders, republics, rebels, and the rising powers of Europe. It faced enemies that changed with every century, with every generation, yet the rhythm of war never truly stopped. It conquered nations and lost nations. It redrew its borders again and again, survived crises that destroyed others, and kept its armies marching from the Balkans to the Arabian deserts. And while doing all of this, while living in a near-permanent state of conflict, it achieved something most empires in history never managed to do. It did not go bankrupt, because the Ottoman Empire didn't just learn how to fight wars, it learned something far more difficult. How to sustain war endlessly, how to turn conflict itself into a financial system. Welcome to the Hidden Ledger. This is the dark undercurrent of financial history. The place where money becomes a weapon, where power is measured not only in soldiers, but in coins, contracts, and balance sheets. It's a place where empires truly live or die. There is a common myth in the West, repeated in textbooks and documentaries alike. Empires collapse when they lose wars. That is not true. Wars do not destroy states. Budgets do. Logistics do. Cash flow does. The Ottomans understood this before anyone else on the Eurasian map. They began in 1299 as a small frontier principality, barely visible in the grand politics of the age. A leader named Osman, a few thousand warriors, and the advantage of being in the right place at the right time. Nothing more. As Byzantium crumbled and the Mongol shadow slowly retreated, a power vacuum opened in Anatolia, and the Ottomans stepped into that vacuum with remarkable speed. But their first victories were not only military. The real victory was in the treasury, in the invisible architecture of revenue. Every conquest meant new land, new taxes, new population, new revenue. From the very beginning, war in the Ottoman world was not an expense. It was an income stream, a self-feeding machine. 1326, Bursa fell. 1350s, the gates of Europe opened. The Ottomans were no longer a small community on the edge of history. They were becoming the power sitting at the heart of the world's main trade routes, the crossroads of continents. From Venice to Persia, from Cairo to Budapest, from Baghdad to Istanbul, everyone had to pass through a single gate, the Ottoman tollgate. Silk, spices, copper, horses, weapons, carpets, whatever moved, the Ottomans taxed. Trade became the silent partner of war. War requires 3 things: food, metal, and men. The Ottomans did not necessarily have more of these than their neighbors, but they possessed something far more valuable, something most medieval states never achieved: a constant cash cycle. And this is where the true genius began. Modern states pay their soldiers salaries. Salary equals the enemy of the budget. An army on payroll is an army that bleeds the treasury every single day. The Ottomans said something radically different. I will not pay with money, I will pay with rights. This was the Timar system. Instead of paying a sipahi in cash, he was granted the right to collect taxes from a village, a district, a piece of the empire itself. In return, he would buy his own horse, provide his own armor, equip himself for campaign. The state spent nothing. The army financed itself. European kings depended on mercenaries whose loyalty lasted only as long as the coins in their pockets. When money ended, loyalty ended. In the Ottoman system, money did not end, because the system was not built on wages, but on incentives. It was one of the smartest pieces of financial engineering in history, a military machine designed to be cheap. Then came the second engine, the Janissaries, children gathered from the Balkans, educated in state schools, turned into a professional army absolutely loyal to the Sultan alone. Its moral dimension was harsh, even dark, but the financial result was brutally efficient. Instead of feeding a soldier for 20 years, the empire obtained a fully trained one at the moment he became useful. Timar made cavalry cheap, Janissaries made infantry efficient, and the Ottoman army became the most economical war machine on earth, feared not only for its swords, but for its accounting. European kingdoms returned from war poorer, drowning in debts. The Ottomans often returned richer, their treasury heavier than before the campaign, because every conquest meant new taxes, new ports, new trade, new cash. This was the real secret hidden beneath banners and battles. Not victory, not strategy, cash flow. But history never stands still. The world changed. Trade shifted to the oceans. Caravan routes died one by one. The Timar system decayed. The Janissaries entered politics and became a force the state could no longer control. For the first time, the Ottomans were forced to build a real salaried army like Europe. And in that moment, the thing they had avoided for centuries knocked on the door. Debt. By the 1800s, European banks had become the real owners of the Ottoman treasury, holding the strings from Paris and London. In 1881, the empire's finances were handed to a foreign commission. 6 centuries of financial miracle ended not with a single battle, but with signatures on paper. You think this is an old story? It is not. Timar equals today's military contractors. Tollgates equals Hormuz. Suez, energy corridors. Monopolies equals national oil giants. Late borrowing equals modern state crises. The rule has never changed. Empires do not die on the battlefield. They die on the balance sheet. The Ottomans lived 6 centuries because they did not sacrifice the treasury to war. They collapsed because economic reality is stronger than emotion. History does not repeat, but if you don't understand it, it will crush you. Subscribe. Real history is here.